up, everybody? I'm Eli from Newport Beach. This is my show, Soft Knocks, talking all things football here. Speaking of football, we wanted Patrick Mahomes for the first episode. We got my uncle.
There's a podcast. I put these things on my head.
Yeah, that's the idea. So, with the most recent Super Bowl, there was one, I think, really key play or moment in the game, and that's overtime.
Okay.
The 49ers.
Yeah.
It was, I think, 4th and 2 from maybe the 12.
Is this right before they were stopped for the field goal?
The Niners decided to kick a field goal instead of scoring a touchdown, but it was 4th down. I think it was the wrong decision. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, man, it's so easy to second-guess stuff like that. Can I ask you, do you feel like the Chiefs won this game or the Niners lost it?
Niners lost it.
Really?
Well, they were playing phenomenal all game, but you never give 15 in red and gold a chance to walk off a game.
Do you feel like Patrick Mahomes, now that he's won the Super Bowl, is the greatest quarterback of all time?
No.
No, he's still Brady.
Not
for
at all.
you.
It's going to be Brady for a little while.
Look, I got to tell you, I have a top 10 list of QBs. Brady and Mahomes, neither one are number one. Now, they're both in the top 5, but I have neither one as number one.
Excuse me.
Pull me back into this. Who are your top 10 QBs all time? Just going from 10 to 5, and then we'll do the other 5 later.
Yeah, so with number 9 and 10, they were kind of interchangeable for me.
These are the guys who are lucky to have made the list.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Who are they?
I think there were 4 guys vying for these spots. I just want to say what I was looking at for this list.
Yeah.
I was going Super Bowls, MVPs, Super Bowl MVPs, yards per attempt, passing yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and completion percentage. And at number 10, I have Dan Marino.
With which Super Bowl rings and which Super Bowl MVPs?
I think his statistics are great compared to everybody else. I believe he is top 10 in passing yards.
Who did he beat out? Who was 11 that didn't make the list?
Eli Manning.
Wow. Okay.
And,
yeah, I would probably take. I'd take Marino over Manning.
Everybody else in that range, Vince Young was.
Vince Young's not at
not
that
Vince
level.
Young. Sorry, Steve Young.
Steve Young. Yes, fantastic. Steve Young's fantastic.
Steve Young, Johnny Unitas.
Unitas isn't on your top 10 list?
No.
But you went on Super Bowls and Super Bowl MVPs. The guy had 3 of them.
Yes, I know. But if you look at his statistics compared to everybody else here, he has, I think, 40,000 career passing yards.
But that's what I'm saying. Johnny Unitas invented the position in terms of yards from scrimmage being in the 40, 50,000s. But I hear you. So Unitas isn't on the list, but Marino's 10.
Marino is 10.
All right, who's 9?
This might hurt you. Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, that hurts. That hurts. How did Ben Roethlisberger make this list?
64. He's 5th all time in passing yards. He's got 2 less passing
over Johnny Unitas. Marino, I get. Did Roethlisberger win an MVP?
Nobody has 2 Super Bowls.
He never won an MVP.
But he has 2 things that Marino doesn't. And 2 rings.
Yeah, fair enough. You're gonna hate my list, so I get it.
He has a Super Bowl MVP. He also, So Marino is 420 touchdowns.
Yes.
Roethlisberger is 418.
Okay.
And Roethlisberger, I
believe,
is 218 interceptions, and Marino's in the 250s.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of split it for me.
Yeah. But no, fair enough. All right, so you got Roethlisberger at 9. Who you got at 8?
8, I got Brett Favre.
Okay, I respect that.
He should be on this list. I think the 336 interceptions probably are holding him down a little bit.
So what put him on the 3 back-to-back-to-back MVPs?
Oh, yeah, definitely that.
Yeah.
The fact that he does have a Super Bowl.
So he's on the list.
Definitely.
He's on. All right. Who have you got next?
I got Drew Brees at 7.
Wow. Drew Brees. I respect that. I have Drew Brees much higher than that, but I respect that.
Do you have him top 5?
I do. I think emotional X factors are a really big deal with ranking your quarterbacks too. Drew Brees was 5'11". Nobody thought he was going to be able to succeed at the pro level. He got bumped from his first team, somehow made this magical comeback despite what seemed like a career-ending surgery, and he literally threw so much that he can't physically use that arm anymore.
To be fair,
talk about leaving it all on the field.
To be fair, I wasn't born when he won the Super Bowl.
Fair enough. That was special. That was emotional. It was in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. Big X factor there.
Yeah.
Big X factor there. All right, who have you got next?
And at 6, I got John Elway.
Okay.
I think he has everything balanced out, and I think everything's just phenomenal.
And he's got one team. Loyalty is great.
It's not something I counted very high for.
He's got 2 Super Bowl rings, which is huge. And they were at the end of his career, which feels like this wonderful narrative, right?
When I Google searched it, I said, how many Super Bowls did John Elway have? It said 5, which was weird. So I did double check that on Pro Football Reference. Then I realized he has 2.
He has 2, but he also, I think, won one. He's the guy responsible. Wasn't he the GM that brought Peyton to Denver?
That's probably
so he's won in the front office and he's won on the field. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. I'd definitely say that.
All right, so and then we get into the top 5?
Yes.
All right, so let's hold it there.
If Drew Brees is number 1, I'm going to do something.
I like Drew Brees a lot. All right, my number 10, I've got Elway at 10. I got Elway at 10. For sticking with one organization and winning it all on multiple levels, I thought was very impressive. At 9, I have Peyton Manning. You have him way higher, don't you? How much higher do you have him? Is he like number 2?
Nice 3.
Wow. Peyton Manning. He rubbed me the wrong way at the end when after
What
he
does
won that Super Bowl with the
you?
Broncos, which, by the way, he got way too much credit for. Von Miller is the reason they won that game. He was basically throwing it to the other team and then tried that weird Budweiser advertisement thing at the end. I like that.
I love the
and he's responsible. Oh, you did?
Yeah, no, the one that aired at this Super Bowl. I like that one. They were just chucking out cans
He's
of Bud Light.
responsible for maybe the most boring Super Bowl ever played. That game that Denver played in New York.
Against the Seahawks?
Yes.
That was the best defense, like probably one of the best
That was
defenses of all
so
time.
boring. He was so boring.
Yeah, Manning should have been in a retirement
It moved him
home at
out
that
of the
time.
top 5 into number 9 for me. I don't care how many MVPs
From
he has.
top
If
5
you
to
can be
9?
that boring, you don't belong in the top 5.
I was less than a year old when he won that Super Bowl. That's not something that I take into consideration when he lost that Super Bowl.
Fair
It's not
enough.
something I take into
Oh,
consideration.
do we have this guy at the same place? I have Favre at 8.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
Favre at 8. That's where I've got him. I really think that if he had won it all with the Vikings,
He could be 5.
it would be at the next level.
I would think he'd be 5.
It would really be at
I
the
don't
next
think
level.
he touches the 4 to me.
You don't think he touches the 4?
That being, I know I probably shouldn't say who the 4 are, but I think
right.
it's.
We'll get to it. Let's see. I have at 7 Roger Staubach. Did you even make your list?
No.
I think people hate the Cowboys, unless
Yes,
they're Cowboys
me too.
fans.
Hate
I think
the
you
Cowboys.
either are a Cowboy fan or you don't like
Especially
the Cowboys.
Dak Prescott. I don't care what he does.
I'm saying, and I think people feel that about Staubach. But the reason people hate the Cowboys is because
they win too much.
and
or
who
they
started
have won
that?
too much.
Who started that?
Right
Roger
here.
Staubach.
Yeah.
Roger Staubach. That's why he's on my
I mostly
list.
just have a vendetta against Jerry Jones.
I have
but that's
respect
okay.
for somebody that can make me hate a team that much.
Yeah,
So
I
respect to Staubach. I have Johnny Unitas at 6. I don't know what you're thinking not putting him on your list. I think era-defining greatness, defined the position, did things that nobody at the position had ever done before. Everybody who came after him did what they did on his shoulders.
Yeah.
I think the MVPs, the Super Bowl rings. He also has the great loss that he got back up from, which to me,
when
he lost to Joe
called his
Namath.
shot?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But you got to come back from that, right? It's like Curry
Definitely.
losing to LeBron. It's like I have so much respect for the guy who can get off the mat and still be great. Johnny Unitas is that guy for me, so I have him at 6. So those are my 10 to 6.
You're going to hate my 5.
Are we ready for top 5?
Yeah, you're going to hate my 5, but the rest of the world will love my 1 through 4.
Okay. Give me 5. Who's 5 for you?
So scared for your top 3. I'm so scared.
I
Yeah,
know.
number 5. I got Mr. A.A. Ron himself, Aaron Rodgers.
No. So here's
Yeah.
what I'll say about Rodgers.
Is he not on your list?
Rodgers isn't on my list.
Okay,
I have
that's
him
what I'm
13. He's not on the top 10.
You made a top 20?
I kept going because there were guys who needed honorable mentions. Marino was 11, by the way. But if
Marino's
I was to get Aaron Rodgers on my top 10 list, all he has to do is win it all with the Jets. If he wins it all with the Jets, he might even be top 5. He might go from 13 to like 5 overnight. Because he's got the incredible touchdown to interception ratio. He's got the multiple MVPs. He's got the Super Bowl ring and the Super Bowl MVP. He won the MVP of that Super Bowl, right?
Yeah,
with the
and
Packers.
he has also back-to-back MVPs in 3 and 4 years.
So the one thing he needs to do
His postseason success
for me now for the top is to win it all with a different team, because it shows you're doing it in a different scheme with a different coach and a different city, and in his case a different league from the NFC to the AFC. That would be impressive to me.
Definitely.
So if the Jets win it all, Aaron Rodgers goes on the list. But right now I don't have him. I get him on your list. I don't understand him at 5 and Johnny Unitas nowhere in sight. But so be it. Who do you got at 4?
Johnny Unitas gets lapped by Aaron Rodgers in every statistical category possible.
But he invented people performing that well at the position.
No,
is there age
that's
bias?
fair.
Is
What?
there age bias against Johnny Unitas?
Yeah, because I didn't get to see him play. Not like you did either.
He only played on the radio. I don't even know if he played on fields. All right, who have you got at 4?
Yeah, Johnny Unitas is a myth. Just like when
He's not even real. He's
just like
Bigfoot.
when Wilt Chamberlain wrote 100
he's Bigfoot.
with a crayon on a piece of paper and called it a 100-point game.
I love it. All right, who you got it for?
Mr. Joe Montana.
Yeah, me too. That's where I got Montana.
Yeah, well, I'm worried about the rest of your top 5. But
I know, but I got Montana. Why do you have him at 4?
Because I think that the 3 people above him have either matched or exceeded his success in some way.
Okay.
I think 2 of these 3 people have matched or succeeded his postseason success.
Okay.
And I think that my number 3 pick has.
Wait, before you go to 3, I've got Montana at 4 also.
Okay.
I think Montana. I think if he wins that Super Bowl with the Chiefs.
Were they ever close? When
they got to the playoffs. He took the Chiefs to the playoffs.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's what I think.
God,
yeah.
Montana played forever then.
Yeah, he did. Well, he had a terrible injury, and then he left the Niners because they had gotten Steve Young, right? And then he went to the Chiefs, and he got the Chiefs to the playoffs, but he didn't finish it off. And this is what I'm saying about Rodgers moving up the list. If you can win in 2 systems, it gives Peyton Manning huge cachet in my book that he did that.
Yeah, and you have him at 9.
I know, but he was so bad in that one Super Bowl.
Oh, my God.
He was so bad. It was literally, I was terrible. I had to watch that. Do you understand? And they're never going to put the Super Bowl in New York again because of that. It was a cold weather game.
Yeah,
they took a risk.
That's why they'll never put one in Buffalo, because it's freezing in February.
Which they should. I think it's so fun.
Why
People love watching that stuff in the snow.
Then everybody would have, like, if, let's say, the Chiefs played let's say that the next Super Bowl is in Buffalo and it's Chiefs versus Niners. If the Chiefs lose, the main thing they'll have to say is the weather was bad. But, like, that's an excuse.
That's an excuse. That's
which is why they shouldn't put it in cold weather.
Oh, I miss it. I think the variety is nice, but I get it.
Well,
they're never going to do it again, and I blame Peyton Manning for that. All right, who do you got at 3?
At 3, I got the man you just referenced, Mr. Peyton Manning.
You have Peyton Manning at 3.
Yes, I did.
Did I have him on my list?
Yeah, you had him at 9.
Oh, 9. He's 9. He's pretty good. Like, I could understand somebody picking him. I don't. I wouldn't pick him. I understand somebody picking him. All right, you have Peyton at 3.
Yeah.
And this is how many MVPs is it?
I think it's 4.
How many Super Bowls is it?
2.
Wow, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and he has the most 50 touchdown seasons in NFL history.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
2 Super Bowls with 2 different teams, which is your, like, main selling point for most of these quarterbacks, and then you have him at 9.
X Factor is my number 1 consideration.
Which is why I'm scared that you have Drew Brees at 1.
I might. Who have you got at 2? You're going to hate my 2 more than my 1. That's what's funny.
I have Pat Mahomes at 2.
I'm Mahomes at 5.
Yeah, it's fair. I just think nobody's had a better start to their career than him.
I don't disagree. And by the way,
6 AFC championships in 6 years, 4 Super Bowl appearances, 3 wins, 2 MVPs, and he has I think it was 53 touchdowns and over 5,000 yards in a year. 21 is MVP. Good. Yeah, I think
if he three-peats.
Yeah.
If he three-peats.
Still 2.
No, I think he jumps to 2 on my list. He jumps a few spots. The three-peat is novel. Nobody's ever done it.
Definitely. If he does three-peat, I think he'd need 1 more Super Bowl after that.
Yeah. It's like our fantasy football league. I've 2-peated, but if I 3, I mean, who could challenge me?
Okay.
Who could challenge me?
But
just for people to know, this is our family's fantasy football belt that I am the proud owner of. 2 running consecutive seasons. It's also what qualifies me to be on this program.
This is what editing is for.
Yeah.
This is what will not make the final cut.
So Patrick Mahomes wins 3.
Yeah.
I move him up the list. But as it is, I've got him.
Compare his first 6 years to anybody else in the history of the NFL.
Right, it's a great run. No, it's a great run. It's been a great run. But there's more to it than that, is what I'm saying. Where did you just put Mahomes at 3?
2.
Who's your 1?
Brady.
It's Tom Brady.
Yes.
It's Tom Brady. Yeah, I think most people would put Brady at 1. I don't like him there.
I think everybody should.
I've got him at
Tom
3.
Brady.
I've got him at 3.
You have him at 3?
Here's the thing about Brady you got to understand.
What, you going to say he cheated?
No, I don't think he cheated.
Thank you.
Yeah. What I do think is you get good at something. Right? Like, for instance, like Marvel is really good. Like, if your only metric for what makes a movie good is box office, Marvel figured out how to do that. So then they repeated it again and again and again and again and again. I don't think because some of their movies made more money than like Citizen Kane, those are better movies than like Citizen Kane or Casablanca, right? There are other factors you got to take into account. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady were phenomenal at winning Super Bowls. There's no doubt about that. And the only reason Brady is top 5 is because of the Tampa Bay Super Bowl. He doesn't win that Super Bowl, he's top 10 to me. Because he got really good at winning the big game, but he's doing that with a whole team, right? So it's one facet of his game. But when I think about like the magical guys, the guys I have 1 and 2, you're going to hate mine too.
Yeah, he also leads the NFL all time in
his stats are great. Yeah, his stats are great.
Passing yards.
Roger Staubach fought for the U.S. Navy in war and lost 4 years of his career because of it. I think that deserves some consideration to possibly put him ahead of Brady if Brady doesn't win in Tampa. But Brady won it in Tampa, so I put him ahead of Staubach.
Staubach not being on this list is Jerry Jones's fault.
Fair enough. All right, so you ready for who I have at 1 and 2?
Not at all.
You're going to hate my 2.
You haven't even told me your 3, 4.
I have Brady at 3. I have Brady at 3, Montana at 4, and Mahomes at 5.
Okay.
So I think, I have Brady, Montana, Mahomes, 3, 4, 5.
And you said you're going to hate my 1 and 2. You already have 1 and 2 at
So you know Drew Brees is one of them. Do you think Brees is 2 or 1?
He better not be 1. I'm going to hate.
Who do you think the other guy on there is? You don't even have him on your list, which I think is offensive.
Okay, who is it?
Are you ready?
Yes.
My number 2 quarterback all time? Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner was literally working in a supermarket, and from there somehow found his way onto an NFL field, led the greatest show on turf to a Super Bowl, won 2 MVPs in his brief career, was meant to mentor 2 different quarterbacks, Eli Manning, who went on to win 2 Super Bowls, Matt Leinart, who was so bad they put Warner back in, and then out of nowhere, he takes the Arizona Cardinals. Let me repeat that. The Arizona Cardinals to the Super Bowl. And if they win that game, I got Kurt Warner 1. He did it against impossible odds.
Yeah, but
I didn't like him I was a Marino fan when I was a kid. I didn't like Warner. I was like, where did this guy come from out of nowhere? But looking at it in retrospect, what he accomplished with what he was up against and the numbers he put up in the time he was doing it, I like Kurt Warner at number 2. I think he's got more X factor and more magic than Brady, Mahomes, or Montana.
If this was a soap opera, I think Kurt Warner should be top 3. This isn't it's football.
He has 2 MVPs. You have a guy at number 10 with 1 MVP and no Super Bowl rings, and never bagged a grocery in his life. Kurt Warner, bad groceries, 1 Super Bowls, and 1 MVPs. That's world class. Put him at 2 for me.
Yeah, it was your number 1.
All right, Drew Brees. Drew Brees, my greatest all-time quarterback. Here's the thing about Brees that you got to understand. I watched Brees. Brees was like my age and size. Brees was like born in like 79, so I'm born in 80.
6'2".
He's smaller than I am.
Yeah.
And he became an NFL quarterback at the highest level against all odds with the injury. Then he ends up on the Saints, who nobody thought could win anything. Goes to the Super Bowl and wins one of the most historic, beautiful Super Bowls of all time with one of the great Super Bowl performances of all time.
Who would they play?
And then he held his baby afterwards, and he really started that trend.
Brady,
and it felt
7 times.
it felt authentic to me. I think when Brady did it, I don't know. Brady felt like he was imitating Brees when he did it with his kids.
He did it 3 times before
I know, but Brees really perfected the art of holding the baby. Have you seen that picture? He held that baby so beautifully. I also, and I feel this.
For Patrick Mahomes.
I feel this strongly.
It's the wrong guess.
I think Brady gets a lot of credit for hanging on.
7 Super Bowls.
I know, which was great, and he gets that crown. But he held on for those extra years where he eclipsed all of those records. Brees was actually the first guy to set them, even though they were playing at the same time. So he was the standard bearer. Yeah. So here's why I have him there. If I'm drafting a team tomorrow from all these guys, what quarterback do I want to lead my franchise of tomorrow for 15, 20 years? I pick Drew Brees.
We're back. We're here after a semi-emotional top 10 list.
What are your thoughts on this year's quarterback class? I mean, you just compared Patrick Mahomes to maybe Tom Brady, maybe starting to enter that debate. I feel like everybody now is talking about this. Everybody's also talking about a very exciting draft class that's coming in.
This is a loaded class.
I mean, but do you actually think that in time these guys are really going to live up to the billing of the hype that they're experiencing it right now? Is Caleb Williams going to be on a top 10 list one day? Is Jalen Daniels going to be on a top 10 list or no? Yes, you think so?
Any of those guys? Well, I think these guys are all going to do something.
They're going to get drafted, that's for sure.
That's definitely something. I think There are like 6 big quarterbacks in this upcoming draft, right? We got J.J. McCarthy of Michigan. We got Bo Nix of Oregon. We got Michael Penix Jr. of Washington. Jaden Daniels of LSU. Drake May of North Carolina. And, of course, Golden Boy, Mr. Caleb Williams. But I think 5 of those 6 will be starters for a while in the NFL.
Okay.
I just don't have very high hopes for J.J. McCarthy.
Really? Because I actually, if I was to bet money on which guy from this class one day might end up on a top 10 list,
interesting,
I might say J.J. McCarthy. And I'm going to tell you why. I think because he's not as highly touted, he's going to end up on a better team. I think J.J. McCarthy's going to end up on a Denver Broncos or a Seattle Seahawks or a team that's actually ready to compete and play a little bit. Whereas guys like Caleb Williams, guys like Jaden Daniels, they're going to be on these teams that are in shambles and need to rebuild in so many different facets.
But you saw what like a Trevor Lawrence and a Joe Burrow did. They were high overall draft picks who completely changed the franchise's trajectory by just them being drafted.
It's so true. No, that's a very good point. It's a very good point. Who do you pick if you're the Washington Commanders at 2?
Who's number 1?
The Chicago Bears hang on to that pick and they take Caleb Williams. Who do you take 2?
Marvin Harrison Jr. is really tempting.
But then who's going to throw it to him?
Really tempting. I don't think Sam Howell is all that bad.
Do you think Washington should take Jaden Daniels or Drake May? Or somebody else?
I think it's either Marvin Harrison Jr. if you know you have...
Do you think that's possible?
I don't think it's likely.
Okay. And then if they did, my God, one of those quarterbacks will fall past...
Yeah, then New England gets a choice, and then...
New England gets a choice, but Arizona's not going to take a quarterback.
I don't know.
LA's certainly not going to take a quarterback.
Yeah, New York at 6?
Maybe.
But then,
yeah,
Tennessee at 7. That's really interesting. If a quarterback can
If a quarterback were to fall all the way to Tennessee.
7,
well, I mean, based on these guys,
yeah.
You know, we were talking top 10 list a second ago. There's always so much put into these draft options, right? People pretend like everybody is the next Tom Brady or the next Joe Montana or the next Patrick Mahomes. Those guys are once in a generation, right? There's just not a lot of those guys out there. Do you think anybody from this draft class, and by the way, those guys tend to not go where you think. Didn't Mahomes go 11th or 12th?
Well, no, but Mahomes was
Brady went a few rounds in. I have no idea.
Brady was 199, but nobody really wanted. He did okay. He was never anything special, even extraordinary, or anything out of college.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A great scout or, you know, a great team's got to be able to see something different. So when you look at this quarterback class, right, do you see a guy who you think one day might be on a top 10 list? I got a sleeper guy. Who do you think? I got a sleeper guy in this draft.
Jaden Daniels isn't a sleeper.
No, he's not a sleeper. Okay. It's a proper sleeper. Like, you're going to be like, who?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hold on. Joe Milton III from Tennessee.
Who? I don't know if anybody even knows who Joe Milton III is besides you.
Well, see, here's the thing. I agree with you, but that nobody knows who they are argument, I think we're talking about the media and the press and fans. I do think NFL people know, and they know that the stock... It's potentially a penny stock. This is a guy you could bring into your organization, and he really isn't quite pro material, and he doesn't happen. But this is also a guy who you might get an incredible deal / discount on. Yeah. You get him really late in the draft. Nobody's paying attention. He's so grateful for the opportunity. He comes into your camp low pressure and expectations. He works his tail off. The opportunity presents itself, and before you know it, he's in the perfect situation. Because I think the situation plays a lot into who becomes a great quarterback. And to your point, Mahomes and Brady both found themselves in great situations. And when I look at the incoming draft class, I don't know if any of these top guys end up in the all-time conversation because the situations are complex and, you know, it's a hard conversation to get into.
Yeah.
But for me, Brady and Mahomes, Kurt Warner, and Drew Brees are in a conversation of their own.
I think Drew Brees can be...
He can be there.
Mahomes,
he can be there.
Brady can be here, and then Drew Brees can be right below them. Also, I'll give you $20 if Joe Milton III makes a Pro Bowl. I would...
Ever.
Make
it 100.
No.
Okay. All right, I'll take 20.
Take your money where you get it, okay?
I'll take 20. Before we wrap up, who do you like for the Super Bowl next year?
I'm not a big fan of betting against 15 in red and gold anymore.
Fair enough.
But I would love to see a team like the Jets get there.
Okay.
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I also want to see the Seahawks get back up.
What do they need? A QB?
No, they have Geno Smith. I think he's a fine quarterback. I think they need to up their defense.
So you're not betting against the Chiefs. Fair enough.
Never.
But are you picking the Seahawks?
No.
Give me an outside-the-box pick. Let's shock the viewers. Who is your...
I think we've already shocked the viewers enough with Kurt Warner, too.
Kurt Warner shocked everybody with I think the second MVP was the Cardinals in the Super Bowl. I'll tell you right now, I don't think Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady could do that. I'm telling you that right now.
Tom Brady did do it. Tom Brady did go to another team.
He did do it.
And he did win a Super Bowl.
He had Mike Evans. Yeah, and Kurt
Warner had Emmitt Smith.
Was Emmitt Smith running for the Cardinals? What was he, 100?
Something like that. But at least they had him.
Was he a fan or was he playing?
He was playing.
Okay. They had Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
They should. Boy, I wish they won that. If they won that game, this wouldn't be such a contentious debate.
Larry Fitz is has some of the best hands in the history of the NFL.
One of the greats. I'm with you on that.
One of the greats.
Larry Fitz. One of the greats. Me too. All right. So give us an outside the box pick for next year's Super Bowl champ.
Oh, that's hard. I don't know how outside the box this is, but I want to see the Bills pull one together. I would love to see them pull one all the way together. I like Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I think he's like this generation's Brett Favre.
But for me, he's still behind Lamar, way behind Lamar.
Oh, definitely, because
Lamar Jackson is a Super Bowl away from being a top 10 quarterback.
Yes, 100% agree with you.
Yeah, but this is what's amazing about the NFL. All these amazing teams and quarterbacks, only one team standing at the end.
Yeah.
Right? We're not going to bet against the Chiefs.
Never.
I'm with you on that. They've proven themselves. I love your Bills pick. I think it's brave. I think it's reasonable.
You said outside the box.
I know. I love it. I'm going to make an outside the box pick too. But it's amazing because it's like, if Joe Burrow wins it all, all of a sudden is he in an all-time conversation? But only one of these guys can win it.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who's my outside the box pick for next season?
The Saints. Drew Brees comes back and plays lefty.
If Brees would come back, I'm not a fan of the current thing they got going on down there.
You don't believe in Derek Carr?
Jameis Winston behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not my.
Those
aren't my Saints. Those aren't my
30 touchdowns, 30 picks in a season does not entice you.
Everybody likes the Lions. I think they're doing a lot of really good stuff in Detroit.
Is that really that outside of the box?
Well, that's it. It's not outside the box. So my outside the box pick, Miami Dolphins.
Okay, I see it.
Super Bowl MVP Jalen Waddle.
Ooh, I kind of like that. I think the Dolphins didn't make a run this year because if you see how injury-riddled they were late in the year,
I agree.
It was so sad. I thought the Chiefs were done in the first round, but then I realized Bradley Chubb's hurt, Teron Armstead's hurt, Jalen Waddle is 100%, Raheem Mostert done for the year.
Yeah, but those running backs, those wideouts, that is a fun team.
Also in Madden, that's just not fair.
Oh, really?
Not fair.
All right. Well, for the next episode, do you want to sign off?
Yeah, I'm Eli. This was Soft Knocks. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.